Gosh, man, so like the last video on this channel, Nazem Kadri and the Red Wings, I have to be very, very careful, because this type of thing can age out very fast. We're making this video, or I'm recording this audio, excuse me, 10:39 a.m. It's Saturday, July 30th here in Vancouver. I still have not gone to the anime convention that's happening later today, so thank you for asking. But today we're talking about yet another free agent on the market, and we're talking about yet another NHL team that might go out there and start kicking the tires on this player. I don't really think I have to go through the entire, oh, this is why it's dangerous feel again, but long story short, if the player ends up signing a contract with any other team, or heck, even this team, in between the time this video is uploaded and the time I'm recording the audio, then yeah, the entire video is kind of obsolete and not really worth anybody's time. But I'm gonna go out there as a betting man. No, I'm not a betting man, just kidding. I don't really make any bets on anything. But like, I'm gonna go out there and try to make my bets and see if we can get a conversation in there before this player actually signs a contract. Today we're talking about former Toronto Maple Leaf, Pittsburgh Penguin, and Arizona Coyotes forward Phil Kessel, as well as the Edmonton Oilers. Because if you go over onto the latest edition of the 32 Thoughts podcast between Jeff Marek and Elliotte Friedman, you had yourselves a little conversation here that sparked up between these two about these two parties. Take a look at the transcript over here from NHL Watcher on Twitter. Marek on the show says, "I do wonder about Edmonton and Phil Kessel. I wonder if he could end up there." Friedman replies saying that's an interesting idea, and Marek says he would score there. There's no denying that. And as expected, this tweet went out there and garnered some serious discussion amongst Oilers fans and fans of Phil Kessel alike, because of course, you know, Phil Kessel is one of those guys that, as we've highlighted in so many of the other videos we've made talking about this guy, he's somewhat of the bigger, like, do I say meme figures in the NHL? Meme lords? No, he's not that. He's just one of these guys that has been dragged through the media so much, especially when he was a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh, he's fat, he's lazy, he eats hot dogs, all this stuff, and then eventually he went over to Pittsburgh and won 2 Stanley Cups, while also playing a style of game that really didn't translate all too well defensively, but he produced a hell of a lot of points, so it was a lot easier to root for this guy as his career went on. But Phil Kessel, if we go over the profile over here, just for all the Oilers fans that are unaware of who this player is, 34 years old, 6 feet 203 as a right-handed forward. He was signed until the end of 2021-2022 on a contract that the Toronto Maple Leafs for the past, 7 years were holding retained salary onto? Either way, that was then, this is now. He doesn't have a contract anymore, he's a free agent. He posted up 52 points in 82 games played last season, which is very strange because 8 of those points were goals. Every other season Phil Kessel has had, he's been a double-digit goal scorer. 20 goals in 2021 with 56 games played too. Like, that's absolutely incredible now when I take a look at that. 27 goals in 2018-19, 34 goals in 2018, 23 goals in 2017. He is a goal-scoring machine who had 37 goals twice as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And as you can see from the body of work that Kessel had as a member of Toronto, you could see that this was a very, very good player. He was arguably the best Leaf that we had in the late 2000s, early 2010s era of Toronto hockey. He was number 1 in points for that team for a very long time, and that all came to an end. The Kessel era came to an end when he was sent over to Pittsburgh in the first Kasperi-Kapanen trade. Now, as we said, he is a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. He posted up career highs in points, playing alongside guys like Carl Hagelin and Nick Bonino, where he had 92 points in 82 games played in 2017-18. Also was a beast during the Penguins' 2 Stanley Cups. Now, this recent season, it was interesting because he did have a lot more assists than he had goals. It's been a very long time since we have seen Phil Kessel only score 8 goals in a season. In fact, it's the first time it's ever happened, which is strange because he was scoring at a 30-35 goal pace last year. Either way, though, Phil Kessel going over to the Oilers would probably see him score a lot more goals than just 8 in a full 82-game season, because, I mean, playing with guys that are as talented as Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, not to mention Evander Kane, Zach Hyman, it's a pretty good forward core that I think the Oilers have built up for themselves. It could make for some very interesting gameplay. And I know a lot of people might go out there and say, oh, but Lego, stylistically, it might not work. You know how Phil Kessel and Evgeny Malkin were not really the best line mates because they both like to hold on to the puck for so long? That's a fair argument. But at the same time, on Edmonton, I feel like when you're playing with McDavid and Draisaitl, like, in 2022, you can adapt a little bit more than that, I feel. Especially since Kessel is no longer, in his late 20s, he's now in the middle of his 30s, he's probably got a lot more to gain from allowing Connor McDavid to streak down the ice and do what it is that he wants to do, and besides, take a look at how Leon Draisaitl, for example, creates his offense. The guy does not hold on to the puck for all too long. He is the one-timer, trigger man, and he gets set up by whoever it is that's giving him the puck on the right side. It's just a really interesting system they have offensively there in Edmonton that I feel like a guy like Phil Kessel could definitely thrive in as a pure, unadulterated sniper. And a guy who could probably go out there and carry the puck up himself. He's still a pretty quick guy and nimble. We know Phil Kessel had that reputation for being fat and eating hot dogs, but that was all just memes. That was all jokes, I think, mostly. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really too much of a hockey fan in the late 2000s, especially not a Toronto Maple Leafs fan in the early 2010s, so I didn't really understand if a lot of the memes about Phil Kessel were legit or just actual media things getting thrown out there, narratives spun on by the Toronto Sun and other writers in that sphere, but at the end of the day, this was all memes that translated to other parts of the hockey world, so Phil Kessel being as much of a cult figure, I guess you could say he is in the hockey world. It's kind of interesting to note where this guy is going to go next because he is talented, he can score goals, and I mean, if an Oilers team gets a guy like Phil Kessel on a cheap one-year deal, let's say 1-2 years, maybe at $3 million AAV, because let's face it, Phil Kessel's probably not going to go out there and demand a whole bunch of money anymore ever since getting paid that crazy expensive contract that was being salary retained on by the Maple Leafs. Kessel's probably got a lot more to gain by signing a smaller, less expensive deal with any other team that's got some younger talent that can set him up and he can set up as well. So, Todd of the Council, your thoughts about the idea of Phil Kessel going over to the Edmonton Oilers of all teams. If you are an Oilers fan, do you like this spot? Do you like the idea of maybe replacing one of your top 6 forwards in Puljujarvi or Yamamoto with a guy like Phil Kessel? How does a top 6 of, what the heck is that going to look like? McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane, Hyman, Kessel, and then, I don't know, Nugent Hopkins, somebody else out there if you want to play Draisaitl on the wing? How do you feel about that sort of assessment at the top of your lineup? Do you think Phil Kessel could add some more elements to this power play into your forward core that you lack? How many points do you think Kessel could get playing alongside of Connor McDavid? I went out there and said on the record a few times after the trade was made over to Pittsburgh that Phil Kessel could probably go out there and score 50 goals alongside of Sidney Crosby. Now, he didn't score 50, he scored 34, but he did have 92 points in that one season, so there was a big body of success that was very easy to see coming when Kessel made his way over to Pittsburgh. Is there a similar sentiment here with Edmonton? Kessel playing with McDavid, how many points does that guy get? Does he go up to 10 goals on the season? I mean, he had 8 last year playing with the Coyotes. I mean, he probably gets 10, right? I'd assume maybe 15 at the minimum, maybe 25, 30 at the max. How many assists does he get setting up Leon Draisaitl? Does he get that 40 assist marker once again for 60-ish points on the season? I'm not sure. Todd of the Council, your thoughts, predictions, and opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And also, if Kessel signs a contract between the time I finish recording this audio and the time this video goes up, then yeah, I might have to just completely scrap this video altogether. But either way, I already said the outro, so I'll leave you here with an and bye.